Hi there, welcome back again. It is Nelly to take you through this tutorial for a Git series on IT and cyber. And we last looked at creating a repository in the previous tutorial, and we went ahead and explained what a repository is and how to move around a repository and maybe the value for it and different stuff we talked about. But in this video, we are actually going to centralize on if we already have a repository that we created, just like this one we created here. Yep, you can actually fetch it from there, or you can actually go to the dashboard, then click here, then you'll see your repositories. So here they will list you all the repositories that you created, and you will have a timestamp for when you actually created it and when you updated it. It always actually gives you a hint, yeah, on that. So you can actually browse your repository and see that there is nothing that were actually committed to this repository, so that's why it is just clean and fresh, just like that. So what we're going to do is that we are actually going to run a few commands that we actually need to maybe push maybe a sample code for us to this repo. So the initial thing that actually you need to have on your machine, you need to install what we call Git. If you don't have Git, you will not be able to run GitHub commands on your machine. Yeah, so we shall need what we call Git. So I'll say maybe download. Oops. Download Git. And you go to that very fast web link. So you'll be prompted with a latest version of Git. So you can go ahead and install the one for Mac because it automatically picks the OS that I'm actually running on. Yeah, so that's why it gave me directly to download the one for Mac. If you're using Windows, you'll see here download for Windows directly. And in case you're on Mac, but you want the one for Linux, you go here. So in case you want the one for Windows, you choose here. And I know majority are using Windows, so you go to this download list and you click here to download the latest version. Okay, so you click the latest, you download the latest version from that link directly, or you can actually go ahead and choose what you want according to your system architecture for your operating system. If you're running 32-bit, you choose this. If you're running 64-bit, you choose this. That, but most likely, I think for better versions of Windows right now, they're all running 64-bit. Yeah. I'm uncertain really finding Windows on 32-bit, but it's there. Yeah, I know. I don't know whether they're still releasing versions of that, but since that this also has that of 32-bit, so you all accompanied. So you can go ahead and also choose the one for portable on thumb drive edition, and you also choose the architecture you're actually running, or you can also still use PowerShell to actually install GitHub directly into the PowerShell terminal, or you can actually also use the command prompt accordingly. So whatever it is, according to what you want to use here. So I recommend if you're using 64 or 32-bit, you go to this standalone installer, so that it directly gives you the setup and install directly, something like that. Okay, so after installing, so I think I won't install this again because I already have Git installed on my machine, and I don't think that steps actually are confusing. Just clicking next and just confirm, it's nothing much that is really so confusing there. So we go back to our repository. So we shall have to run these available commands in order to create or to push whatever we want to this repository. And they also prompt you that or push an existing repository from the command line. So in case there is already an existing repository, which is this, so you can also push changes to it accordingly, just like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this in a terminal. I think I have is it in VS Code, or I don't know. Let me try. Okay, this project I was working on, unfortunately, it's for a client. So I think I would not make my repo public. Yeah, I'll change it to private later on. But for the basic of this video, let's say let's say we want to we want to actually upload this on the other GitHub repository. Okay, so what we are actually going to do, we need to sign into GitHub here. You can't run. Okay, yes, fine. We installed the extension for GitHub pull requests. You can get the extensions from here, whether you're dealing with VS Code or Windsurf. I'm using Windsurf. Yeah, I don't know, but it's nice for me. Yeah, so you can go ahead and as well also use VS Code. It has the extensions over here. Where are you? Right here. So you can go and install any extension that you really want to, and you move on. So install the Git extensions in your VS Code and stuff. Yeah, and to sign in on in your VS Code or your Windsurf, whatever IDE you're working with. Let's say we are dealing with Windsurf or VS Code, because Windsurf is a fork of VS Code. I remember explaining what fork means. So you come here and say sign into GitHub. So they prompt you to sign into GitHub to use GitHub Copilot. I explained Copilot before, and or they also give you sign in with GitHub to use GitHub pull requests, whatever it is. Okay, so that is with VS Code. Let's say if I'm dealing with this one, I already downloaded. I only downloaded an extension for GitHub pull requests. So I'll go ahead and sign in. Then I'll click allow. Continue to GitHub. Okay, so I think I'll minimize down this because okay, so they need a device activation. So signed in as this as ID near cyber. But remember, we were dealing with this. We are dealing with this account. Okay, so the other IT genius cyber stuff is different from this one. So I would prompt to actually sign in with the other one. Whoops, where has it gone? Yeah, it's right here. So I'll use a different account. So I'll use a different account and I'll say, do I have it here? No, I don't think I really have it. So I'll type in and say, what was it? The username, any client? I think so. Okay, I'll save that password because it's okay. So they are asking for the code displayed on your device. So let's go back to Windsurf. We get this code here. So it is your one-time code 5ED0. So we shall copy up that 5DE0 and stuff. It's 5. Then here it is the rest that I copied. Oh, I think I just can't paste them. I'll keep on going the other side. ED0. ED0. Oops. Oh my god, it's off. I think we are actually a bit slow here. So what we shall do is that we shall actually attempt to sign again. Yeah. Because we have been actually slow on this. So I'll close this and we start again. Okay, so I'll go back to Windsurf and get this code right here. Is let me just note it down, 96FE. FAD. Okay. So I'll choose the client because before try to sign in with it, then I'll put my code here. Does it paste? Yeah, I think it just pasted. Or you can type it and continue. Okay, so give access to Visual Studio and all set. So everything is fine, so we can go back to our VS Code or WinStuff, whatever it is. So we shall have the pull request notifications and stuff, whatever it is, but we don't need that. Okay, we shall see the graphical way how to actually push and pull using the graphical way instead of the terminal. Sorry, instead of the terminal or the command lines. Yeah, so we go back to our GitHub. So we are going to first run this git init. So git init is responsible to initialize git in your project. Yeah, so you can't do anything without initializing the git in your project. So before even initializing git, you need to install git first. So we already saw how to download git, and now we can go ahead and initialize git, isn't it? So you can't use something you haven't initialized. So it's like having a variable and you want to use it below to maybe call for the name, and yet you didn't store anything into that variable, or you didn't actually initialize that variable for name. So you need to have git installed, then you can initialize it in the project. Okay, so we shall call for git init in this project. Oops. Okay, so it has been initialized because I think I tried initializing this project time back. So what we shall do again is we shall go back to here, git add readme. Do I need the readme file? I don't think I really need it. Then I'll skip and go to git commit. But what am I committing? I'm committing the changes that I've added, but I haven't added anything yet, isn't it? So I need to add changes. So what I need to do is I need to go back here and say I need to add changes. So if I want to add all the changes, all the files in this project, so I just go and say git. Okay, let me try to increase a bit this. I'll say git add space dot. So that means I've added all the files into this project. So to check the status of your git, or git status, sorry. Okay. So everything is okay, isn't it? All that I need to do is to commit the changes. Why it is not actually listing these files? Because I tried to add the changes already into the git that I really initialized before. But if it's a new project you're actually working with, after doing git add, you'll see a list of all these files here listed. Okay, yeah, and I was doing it on the main branch. So we shall go back here and say, okay, do I have any changes? Or yes, fine, I've added the changes, so I'm attempting to commit the changes. So what I'll do, I'll come here and say git, and I add the commit message that I really want. So this is specifically a commit message that you want to be shown in your GitHub. So each and every time you're committing changes, you put a new commit message. If you're changing, let's say you're updating let's say the map screen, and you made some changes, you say updated the map screen. So you send that change, and in case you aren't adding all the files, so you don't use git add, you use git, you have to specify the file directory and you add that alone, just like how you are adding the readme file here. You're adding the readme file, so you git add that specific file. Okay, so it will automatically add that specific file, so it's what you want to commit alone. But if I wanted to commit the entire changes, I just use git add space that dot. Okay, so git first commit. Okay, there is nothing to commit because I already committed. Okay, then what else do we need to do is to go back here and say, you just copy this and paste that. It is just direct, everything will be direct to you. And now we need to remotely add to this specific repository. So I'll copy it up and come back here and say I'm actually adding to that. Okay, so I'm actually adding to that. In saying error, remote origin already exists because I already tried this out on this in this initialized git into this project. So it's already there, it's already existing. So I don't need to do that again. So what I need to do is to push the changes, okay, after committing them and after remotely adding it to that newly created repository. I need to push now the changes, so I'll just copy that. Just everything is just open there. Okay, allow to Nelly client. And poop, everything is fine. So we are writing the objects and everything and whatever it needs to write and push to our repository we created. So we just wait for a short while. Okay, so the other thing we're actually going to explain in the next tutorial, we're actually going to see how to link GitHub to Google IDX. Yeah, it's a new platform that has actually come in, and in case you don't have a strong PC that you're actually working with and you're a developer, you can actually code from anywhere. You don't need to carry a machine which is very strong, say, just like VS Code or Android Studio running on a faster machine and slows down the machine and blah blah blah. You don't need all that. You only need an account on Google IDX, and you'll be able to code and produce nice projects when you're using the online IDE or IDX platform. Okay, so but the good thing that they have actually implemented is that you can use your repository you've actually created before, and you actually clone it in IDX, and you carry on your project. So wherever you're making changes, let's say you're a team and you're actually making changes on one single project, you can actually push and pull changes accordingly. Okay, so I guess here we're all done, and we can actually check the status. Okay, so your branch is up to date with origin. That's the main branch. So we have branches in our GitHub. We shall look into that in a tutorial as well, explaining well how to push to a specific branch. You can have several branches on your GitHub, and you have repositories that come along, so you can choose a branch that you want to send on, a branch that you're pulling requests from, whatever it is. Okay, so let us try to see whether our changes have actually been uploaded there. So we shall go back to here, and we are only required to refresh. So when we refresh, we see that under my first repo, I have my entire files. Okay, to peruse through, you will see that you having fast commit, that was the message I provided when I was committing the changes. Okay, remember I added all these entire files. If you have a specific file you're actually wanting to only add to GitHub, to a specific repo, whatever it is, then you have to select that alone, not entirely everything, okay? But if you want to entirely upload all the entire files, then you have to use git add space dot. Yeah, I suppose that was very okay, and I suppose everyone, it is very easier now to upload your project to GitHub, starting from the sign-in side to linking your IDE to to GitHub, and pushing to GitHub. So that's it, and you can see we also have a timestamp for everything here. So I have my files here in lib folder, very well stated. Yeah, just like how I have here in the IDE. Oops, so minimize down this. Oh, I'm having a low battery. Okay, so I have folders of auth pages, constants, screens, blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. So that is how to push to GitHub. So we are going to see how to pull from GitHub. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll wait you in the next tutorial.